Today we're covering the topic of all things tug. Why is it important for your dog to tug? What's the best tug toy for your dog? And what are some tips to make sure your dog tugs the first time and every time you ask? We're going to cover all that today. Let's get started. Why tug at all? Why do you care if your dog tugs or not? There's a number of great lessons that can be taught through interactive tug with your dog. Number one, you can ask your dog to do something and he does it. So that translates on later on in life. Number two, when you say that's enough, the dog learns, I should stop. These are two really keen lessons. Now, some people will warn you against tugging because it says they might suggest it creates aggression in the dog. We just don't believe that. Now, if you are tugging with a dog and the dog starts growling at you because they're having fun, that's just them communicating that they enjoy the game. However, you want to always be the one to initiate the game of tug and always be the one that ends it. So if you have a dog that comes up and shoves a toy in your face and says, I want to tug now, and then you tug and then they let go and walk away, then you might be creating a problem. Do you see the two scenarios? Number one, you tell the dog, let's do something, and he does it. And then you say, let's stop it, and he does. On the other hand is the dog says, I want to play with you now. Okay, I'm done. Do you see how one relationship may be one you want, and the other may be one you want to avoid? Tugging can teach those lessons. Of course, for any of us who play sports with our dogs, tugging is a brilliant format to get your dog into a high state of arousal so that they're going to be keen to drive and run with you and really be focused. When a dog is focused, when they're in a higher state of arousals, they don't tend to notice distractions in their environment. We want to use tugging to get our dogs into that high state of arousal so that they're immune to distractions in their environment. Okay, let's get started. When people come to us and we say, we need you to tug with your dog, common complaints we hear is, oh, my dog just likes food, he doesn't really like toys. Or my dog just likes balls, he likes me just to throw the ball. Or he tugs at home, but he doesn't really like to tug anywhere else. So we need to change your beliefs about tugging in order to help you change your dog's beliefs about tugging. So we're going to start with some of the key points that we found over years and years of helping our online students to get their dogs to tug. And we're talking about dogs who maybe might be 5, 6, or 7 years old, have never tugged in their life. And suddenly, just by following this program, they're brilliant tuggers and they can use tugging in their training. We've had literally thousands of students go through our online programs, and people who are the biggest doubters about their dog's ability to tug are blown away with the results they get. So stick with me. I'm not only going to show you how to get your dog to tug, I'm going to give you a great list of suggestions of what toy might be the best for your dog, how to decide what's best for your dog, and what you might be doing right now that is killing your dog's tug drive. Number one, the most important thing is the toy you choose for your dog. So you might say, my dog loves squeaky toys. This is a squeaking pig. So this would make a great tug toy. And possibly, but not likely, for a number of reasons. It's really little. The closer your hand is to your dog's face, with a lot of dogs, that's intimidating. And they're not going to want to bite and grab and growl when your hand is that close to their face. So this is not going to be a great toy for that dog. Number two, it's difficult for you to hang on to. So the tug of war is going to end very quickly. Right? So this is not a great tug toy for your dog for that reason. Now, something like this. Now, this was one of my puppy's early tug toys. I like playing tug with puppies with something like this for a number of reasons. Number one, it's super long so they can stay away from my hands and I can stay away from their face. I can snake it on the ground and really get them excited and engaged with the toy. Number two, there's options. So there's a furry option. This is real fur for the dogs. Don't worry, no animals were killed. It was just an old coat that was made into a toy. I think at one point an animal might have been sacrificed. But it was just old coats made into tug toys. So if your dog loves the engagement of fur, they have this option. Or there's just a braided toy at the end. Or there's something really flashy that they might want to grab onto. So a puppy, a wee puppy might feel the most comfortable just grabbing this little piece of fur rather than having to get their mouth around this big piece or this big piece. So I love a tug toy like that. All right. This is another tug toy, but with even more options. So this is a rubber ball that stretches. A lot of dogs like that. I like these tuggies because it's a bungee. So if you have a dog who is really a powerful tugger, for me and my back, I like to have something that's a bungee. So this is a great long toy, great option for tugging. All right, this is another one with a bungee, but it's a bigger ball for the dog. And this at one point, oh, it still does squeak. So for dogs who love squeakies, this might be the best choice for you. Let me tell you though, you might get a dog who loves squeakies and say, this is a great toy. And guess what? Your dog likes that end better than this end. It's up to the dog. And sometimes I might be trying to get them to tug with this end and sometimes with this end. I might not take this toy for a puppy because I just don't think it's long enough. And it doesn't get my hand away from the dog's face. It doesn't present the dog with enough options. You may find that your dog picks bizarre things to like. This is my dog, Decaf, who's now 17. As a puppy, her number one favorite thing to tug on was a fly swatter. So be creative, look around the house. It might be a paper towel roll. It might be a crinkled up piece of paper. I know our own Linda Orton Hill, her Sheltie Favor, loved balls, a piece of paper crinkled up to chase and tug on that. So obviously, if you have a great big, powerful German Shepherd, tugging on a piece of paper isn't gonna go very far. But all I'm saying is be open to what your dog says. I love this. Let's tug on that game. All right? All right. So I'm going to go through. We're going to have a little quiz now. Good toy for tugging or not? Happens to be my dog's Encore favorite toy. Not a good toy for tugging. Slippery, not a lot to grab onto, and not too close to your dog's face. All right? Something like this. It's got a squeaky, real fur. You can open it up and you can actually put food inside so the dog can smell real food inside. Look, I've even got a poodle excited to come and join me. All right, so good toy. What about this? Good toy to tug on? Squeaks. It makes some noise. It's got options for the dog to grab. Probably not, well, it makes it crinkly. Probably not going to be my favorite toy because of the small size of it. All right, so you get the idea. This, you can join two toys together. So you might have one with a bungee that's really exciting because it's got a little bit of fluff on the end. And this is a great toy because actually inside here is a holy roller, so it's squishy. A lot of dogs love these, but it's a little bit short. So you might combine two toys. Just put the bungee handle through, and now I've got many options on one toy. All right, you get the idea. Good toy. And this is my adult dog's favorite thing to tug on, but it might not be the best choice for a young dog because it is slippery. This is just an inflation from a cow milker. So if you have any dairy farmers in the neighborhood, they throw these out on a regular basis. Great toy for an adult dog, but you need to be aware of the age of your dog, the stage in their tugging progress, and the breed of dog. So not all dogs, or not all breeds of dogs are going to like tugging on something rubber. They might prefer something fluffy. So choose, number one, most important thing, choose the most appropriate toy for your dog. Now, I have many different toys, but I never present them to my dog and go, do you like this? Oh, you don't? Okay, well, what about this? You don't like this? Oh, you don't. Pick one toy. You might even just throw it on the ground and see if your dog interacts with it. And snake it around, make it live, and grow from there. Don't keep changing it out when your dog says, no, I don't think I want that. Remember, this is about your dog getting to do what you say when you say it. So very important, pick the appropriate toy for the dog. Number 2, pick an appropriate time of day to ask your dog to tug. So if you've just come back from a 10-mile hike and you've cooled your dog out and given them their dinner, that's not a good time to say, let's tug. You know your dog better than anybody, and you know what times of day or what activities creates that goofiness in your dog. So for most dogs, right after a bath, they're just crazy. That would be a great time to ask your dog to tug. Maybe when you come home from work, they're all kooky. That would be a good time to ask your dog to tug. So just take note of the different times of the day when your dog is a little friskier, and use those times to start initiating that tug drive. What you want to do is, with tugging, we want to turn on the dog's prey instinct. All animals, even if they're fluffy lap dogs, all have prey instinct. It's how they're wired. So what we want to do is pretend the toy is something the dog's going to chase. If I'm playing with a puppy, I'll take a toy and I might push the puppy back with my hand against their chest and put the toy down here. And that resistance creates the urge to want to go forward. Push against the dog, they have something called an opposition reflex that makes them want to go forward. So I'm pushing them back, playing with this toy, and let them go, boing, they spring forward. I let them just grab it for a second, and then I pull it away and pull them back and go in the other direction. I love playing this game with puppies. Over here, let them engage for just a second and then pull it away, and over here. We're turning on that dog's prey instinct, and this is their prey. So you don't go at a dog like this, all right? There aren't many rabbits that jump in a dog's mouth. The dog loves to chase rabbits because they turn and run. So with the toy, you might show it, turn and put it down, or run away dragging it behind, so that we're turning on the dog's instinct to want to chase it. Right? Very important with your tugging mechanics. Dogs who, once they get tugging, your mechanics comes into play here. You want to get low. Right? Tug with, if this is the dog's head, just a second, I'll bring in a dog so you can see. The dog's got the tuggy. And what a lot of people do when they're tugging is they go up and down, snapping the dog's head back and down and back and down. How much fun can that be for your dog? When you tug, you want to go side to side. Protect your dog's neck. Yes, you want to pull away. But don't go up and down like that when you're tugging. Side to side. Remember, you're low when you're doing it. Maybe on your knees. Side to side. All right, and remember, we're the prey. So when we're tugging, we aren't going towards the dog. We are pulling the dog towards us. So you're constantly backing away while you're tugging, encouraging the dog to come forward. Keep your sessions short. So a lot of people, they use some of our great advice, they finally get the dogs tugging, and then they go on these duration tugs forever. Like, my dog's tugging, this is so exciting. And the dog's like, I've never tugged before my jaw, so I'm done. Right? Oh boy, I can't. So now the dog has learned, I tug until I want and then I let go. You want to keep the dog wanting more. So short duration tugs, honestly with my own dogs, it's not more than a few seconds, and then I pull it out of their mouth, not in a way that's going to hurt the dog. You can pull against their chest or put your hand against the side of their mouth so that when it comes out, they're not flung backwards, right? That they're actually pushing against your hand when you get that toy out. Right? So short sessions, be aware of your mechanics, encouraging the drive back towards you. Don't be going at the dog. Now you may be watching this saying, my dog has no interest in the tug toy and there's no way we're ever going to get tugged because my dog's all about the cookie, just loves food. I'm going to give you a few tips to help your food-loving dog become a tugging and food-loving dog, and give you some insight into what you may have done to create a dog who doesn't want to tug right now. All right, so if a dog loves food, what happens is people try to use food to reward tugging. So we get what's called fake tugging. Here's what I mean. You have a dog that, I love cookies, give me cookies, I want cookies. And so, oh, you want me to tug? Okay, here, where's my cookie, where's my cookie? And they just get a little, okay, I put my mouth on it, okay, give me a cookie, give me a cookie, give me a cookie. If you're like a brilliant trainer with brilliant timing, that might work, but we can't be sure what the dog thinks he's getting rewarded for. Is he getting rewarded for dropping the toy or for holding the toy? So for that reason, it isn't always great to use food as a reward, but we can use food in the process. So number one, you might take like a long piece of food, like a dried out beef tendon or something that's quite long, and get the dog to chase that and get the dog to grab onto that, tug with it a little bit, and then let them have it. Anytime you want to give your dog a chewy, that could be the way to do it. A little bit of tug and grow out that tug till it's a little longer and a little longer. Second way you can do it is teach the dog that in order to earn your cookies, we would like you to hang on to this toy. So at first, I'll hold the toy like this and I'll have cookies here. It's just a shaping game. The dog knocks this out of my hands, and my hands are like that. Knocks it out of my hands, I give him a cookie. Put it in my hands again. He knocks it out of my hands, I give him a cookie. After a few of those, I might put my fingers around. So he goes to pull it out of my hands. Now, at first he might just use his paws, I don't care. But I want him to put his mouth on that. As soon as he puts his mouth on it, I'll let go. Very quickly, I'll put my fingers around it, so he has to pull a little bit more and a little bit more. I'm shaping the dog that you have to pull maybe 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and increase that. Maybe I've done all the way to 3 times tugging. I might go back to 1 time. Ping pong, how many tugs I have to get before he gets his cookie. You can also take a toy. There's a lot of them out there where you can open the toy up, put something smelly inside there, and the dog will grab on that because the food's inside, and you can start initiating a game of tug that way. You might just take an old sock and fill it with gooey food. Tie a knot in it and get your dog to chase that. Now beware, you want to be very careful with this because number one, that sock might get, the food might go rotten. We don't want the dog to get sick. You have to put that sock in the fridge after every use because what if the dog grabs it and tries to eat it? You might get that sock in your dog's stomach. So this is really, really critical. It comes with a great warning that this could be potentially dangerous to your dog. All right, so you can put that sock on a rope and get your dog to chase it behind. What we need to do first is just get the initiation of your dog feeling. What's it like to tug? Because for many dogs, they have no idea what it's like, and we need to allow them to feel that sensation. Okay, you can also buy those toys that you can put food in, but you might not want to buy one. Just get a tennis ball, put a slit in it, put a bunch of cookies in the tennis ball, and put a rope around that tennis ball. Now you have a toy that the dog can tug, and when they're tugging, you just open the tennis ball and the cookies pop out. Okay, so there's some great tips for those of you who have food-only dogs to get them to become food and tug dogs. Contingencies and tugging. Now, that's a pretty big word, but here's what we want. We want the dog to learn his behavior is creating a game that you two play together. And you're going to say, well, why do I have to make him work for tugging? Why can't I just give it to him? The thing is, things that you work for create a lot of value, and we get the dog anticipating that something wonderful is going to happen. It could be simple, like I'm playing with a puppy, I pull the tuggy out of their mouth, and I just wait for them to offer me anything. It could be down, it could be back away, it could be sit. At first, just bouncing off my leg might go, oh, that's good, here's your toy. Because I want them to understand something you did was like pushing a button to get me to play the game. That's a contingency. If you do this, I do that. So it might start with them bouncing off your leg, you give them the tuggy, and then you'll grow it into a game of you need to sit, and then I'll get the tuggy. It's a contingency to play. You do this, and I do that. The last tip could be one of the most important tips, and that is growing the locations your dog will tug. Because here's the thing, people will say to me, oh, he does it at home, but he doesn't like to do it anywhere else. It's not where we can get the dog to tug, it's how many distractions will that dog tug when he sees. So, for example, you get your dog tugging in the living room. Now let's get him tugging in the kitchen. Now let's get the dog tugging in your bedroom. Move to different locations. That helps grow the game for the dog. Once you've got the dog that says, hey, I love this, you're going to add a distraction. And for many dogs, that could be a cookie. Now, if your dog is crazy about food, let it be a very low value cookie, maybe just a kibble, something dry. If the dog's so-so on food, make it be something really outrageous. And this is where you're going to use something like a chair. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that piece of food and I'm going to put it on the chair. Okay? I'm going to ask the dog to tug right beside the chair. And he's going to go, oh no, I can't tug here because I want that cookie. And we go, okay, that's great. Now you keep your dog on leash for this, because we want to grow locations. We don't want your dog to ever say, I don't want to tug, and I don't have to tug. So we're going to grow this location. Cookies on the chair, dogs on a leash, great tuggy in your hand. Remember, this is for the dogs once you've grown your tug behavior. The dog says, I don't want to tug. So now we're going to move away from this chair, move to the furthest point in this room and ask the dog to tug. I promise you, when I've done this with my own dogs, they've never tugged, not one of them. So that's the behavior we're hoping to get from your dog. So he's going to say, no, I don't want to tug, I just want the cookie. Now you leave the room and you go into another room and you ask the dog to tug. Maybe you'll get the fake tugging where I get a little tug and then I go, oh, where's my cookie, right? Keep moving further and further away from that chair. Go upstairs, go downstairs, go outside until the dog says, okay, I've forgotten about the cookie and I'm tugging with you. And then when he's sincerely tugging and you in your heart know he's forgotten about the cookie, then you say, out, okay, let's go get that cookie. And together you run all the way back and give the dog the cookie. And then you start all over again. Cookie on the chair. There's something called response cost in dogs. You move them further and make them work harder and harder and harder, and they figure out, if I just tug right in front of the cookie, then I can get it. And that's what our goal is. We've got our dog to say, I don't want to tug, and we explain to the dog how that's never an option with me. You always need to tug when I ask you. And then you move further and further and further away till you get the tugging. And remember, this is important because you're saying, let's go get the cookie is rewarding the behavior you get. So make sure it's sincere tugging. And then you say, okay, let's go get that cookie. And two of you run back, grab the cookie. All right, your bonus point. Now, this is one I know firsthand because I've had to do it with my own dogs. Sometimes you get a dog that they're tugging and then they just drop the toy. And what the habit is of most individuals is to just, no, tug. They go right back at the dog. I need you to change that instinct. If you're tugging and your dog drops it, don't go, oh, you dropped it. Here's it. You have it again. What you're going to do is you're going to throw it up in the air and play by yourself and have a good time. You've got to be sincere about this. Okay. So if this is my toy and my dog's dropped it and I go, oh, look, this is me having fun without you. Nah, not really. If I've got the dog drops it, it's like, oh, it's a mine, it's a mine, it's a mine. Aha, it's a mine. And then create that contingency again. Okay, I'm ready. Get it. And you're not going at the dog. We're going away from the dog. So bonus tip is, remember, we can't be begging the dog to play. Tug is always about prey instinct, and you are always the prey.